So Jubilee has come out with a recent video in which they have a couple Democrats and a couple Republicans, argue on their show Middle Ground, which is basically a debate show, honestly. But, I've done similar videos to this where we reacted to Middle Ground, so we're just gonna watch this one and get right into it. I have not pre-watched this at all, so I have no idea how this is gonna go. I was planning on watching the anti-Biden versus pro-Biden Democrats one like a few weeks ago, but literally not that long after that video came out, he dropped out. Like, I think it was like three or so days later. Like, it's literally right here, this one with Destiny in it. Literally like a few days after that video came out, Biden just dropped. He just dropped out. So yeah, I mean, there was no reason to really watch that.
You're so smart. You don't think an illegal immigrant has ever... You're so smart. You don't think an illegal immigrant has ever voted in the presidential federal election.
Probably not.
Oh my God!
Okay, that guy's gonna be a headache. Oh my God.
Oh my God!
The shooting at Trump's rally will change the course of the election. Will the agreeers please step forward?
I don't know. I don't think it really has it? I mean, we're a couple weeks out and it doesn't really feel like it changed that much. I think he saw like a bit of a boost from it, but like now that Biden dropped out and now that Kamala has really been surging in popularity, I don't think it has. It's just like, he got shot and everyone was just kind of like, whatever.
I think everybody has seen the picture of him raising his fist, and I personally, I'm from Texas, and so all of my friends have been posting it, and I'm friends with a lot of Republicans, respectively, and they've been posting it, and it's kind of an empowering thing now, and it's kind of causing people to want to vote for him, and a lot of moderates are saying it now as, oh, he is strong, and like what he went through, like he can go through anything, So a lot of moderates are leaning towards wanting to vote for him, and
yeah, but you are also in a red state. So moderates there are probably going to be leaning more right anyways. Like, I don't expect every single one of, like, these Democrats and especially the Republicans to be very, like, tuned in to what's going on in terms of the moderate vote. But I do not see that.
kind of scary.
Yeah, he was shot, but let's call it what it is. It was an attempted assassination, which failed. Obviously done by a liberal, because Republicans would know how to shoot guns.
That's not true.
That's literally not true.
It was a Republican.
That is not true.
Oh, yes, sorry.
They bring in this fact check that he donated to a Act Blue group, but state records show he was a registered Republican. There was a lot more to kind of back up the Republican claims than just that one donation.
Thomas Matthew Crooks.
I'll go ahead.
Donated to Act
Blue, so.
When
Okay.
did he donate? He donated January 20th, 2021, and then he registered as a Republican September
Yeah, because
2021.
because to create a narrative. If you're a school shooter or an assassination.
Yeah, this is the old
Yeah, that's why he wore a shirt. He wore a shirt called Demolition.
Party does not matter when
This
he
has
puts out
been
a
a
video
plan
saying
for
he hates
3
Donald Trump.
years.
Yeah.
Robert,
Meditating.
you don't think
Regardless of the
no,
motives,
let me
he
just
was
answer this.
shot.
You don't think a person that is a murderer or an attempted murderer probably has fantasized about it for longer than 3 years?
No, people do stuff like
He's
that
probably
on
killed
a whim.
animals. I'm just saying, if you're going to be a shooter, you've probably fantasized
No,
about shooting
people
somebody.
do that stuff on a
So
whim
yeah, I
all
would
the
say that
time.
it would make sense that he's probably thought about.
He's just trying to be like, no, he had the assassination thoughts when he was a Democrat. Even though he registered as a Republican, in between that, he still always had those Democratic thoughts. It's just so dumb.
Killing somebody for over 3 years.
I mean, yeah, probably killing somebody,
Exactly,
but
you
it's
agree with
not
me.
Yeah,
like
but
Okay,
you have no
let's-
information to base that off of.
Emily,
Let me
finish your
finish.
point. Let's
I appreciate
let
that. Thank
Emily.
you.
I'm very well known. I do common sense takes, okay? Left, right, doesn't matter. You tried to assassinate someone. I'm going to safely say you don't like that person, okay? You're probably
Yeah, but there's Republicans who don't like Trump.
on the opposite team. Other than that, yes, I intake a lot of news. It's what we all do for a living. Everyone woke up. I see all this.
Yeah, but if that's the first thing you go to, you need to find stuff to back that up. Like, sure, whatever, that's common sense, but facts can... No, Jesus Christ, this is so dumb. It's just, these people are just gonna be such a fucking dumb. Also, I like how she said, I'm pretty well known. Who is she? Like, I am pretty well knowledge when it comes to, like, right-wing pundits, people on the right, like, talking heads. I have no idea who the fuck she is. Like, there's no way she's like a Ben Shapiro level, Tim Pool level, or like even Steven Crowder level, even though his numbers have dipped. Like, I have no
Stats,
idea.
everything going up. We vote on, who's going to win, all these things. Every single person with a brain is like, he just won. So yes, I do think this changes things. That's all.
Yeah, the way that it changes it, though, is that it validates a very falsified argument that Biden wants to go after his political opponents. Okay, well, Tulsi Gabbard said it on Bill Maher recently, okay? So Republicans are, propagating that theory that Biden wants to go after political opponents and he wants to promote, like, political violence, right? And obviously you're already saying that he was a liberal.
Propaganda when
so
Biden said that Trump needs to be put in a bullseye 5 days ago?
5 days ago.
When pressed on his bullseye comments, Biden said it was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs, I meant bullseye. I meant focus on. Yeah, it's a saying. Like, oh, we're going to put him in the bullseye. We're going to, really focus on him. You're going to say that, especially when you, at the time, were essentially the preemptive Democratic nominee, and you know that Trump is going to be your opponent. Yeah, we need to focus. It's just so dumb.
Yeah, when did he
It's a saying.
It's on his Instagram right now
The
as well.
campaign took it down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course they took it down.
Great.
Real convenient, but I don't know if that's propaganda.
But I want to ask this question, Danny, and it's like saying, yeah, my girlfriend goes to another school. When you say your friends feel empowered by this, just admit that you feel empowered from that video. Seeing his
No, I
fist.
don't at all.
You're
actually.
telling me you
No,
didn't
I
get
think
any
it's
sense of
embarrassing.
pride
No,
after
I saw
getting
that.
shot, standing up, raising your fist, saying fight.
Is it
against
bad for me to say I'm
You don't
kind of
like that
happy
at
it
all?
kind of happened? I don't
That's
know.
bad. Yes.
Yeah.
Here's why it's
Danny, wait, hold it, break to you. You're happy that
I'm not happy what happened
You just
at
said
the
I'm
rally.
kind of happy that
I mean,
happened.
yeah,
What are
I
you
hate
happy about?
Trump.
Yeah,
I hate Trump. Maybe
so
it
much so
scared him.
Okay, but what's going on in your life that you would wish murder or death upon somebody?
Jesus
don't wish
Christ.
that he
This
died.
guy.
You just said that you'd be happy.
There's no way this guy's had his friends. There's no way this guy has friends at all. Who would want to spend a second in a room with this guy? He just seems so fucking annoying.
I don't
glad
condone-
he
I don't
didn't
condone
die,
violence, but I
okay?
hope I
I'm sure
see
someone out there loves him very
Wait, hold
much.
on, Alex, repeat that
Wait,
again.
I want you guys to both say this out loud very clearly to
Please.
the
Wait, what did you
camera.
just say? I said I don't condone violence, but I hope I see something.
What does that mean?
It means that Trump got it coming to him. He's been saying this shit for years
Yeah,
and
I hope
years
you guys get a
and
nice
years.
position, Secret
There's
Service.
bound to be
Nice.
some point
my
where a
God.
Republican or a Democrat, somebody loses their shit and says, I'm not happy with the president
We're
saying
gonna
all this all the time. I'm not happy
make
with
this go
him trying
faster.
to destroy democracy. I'm not happy with him trying to destroy the American dream. That's how my generation feels. That's how
that
plenty
how
of people
America is
in
now?
the city feel. That's how plenty of
Is
people
that how
in this
America
county
is
feel.
now?
That's how 70 million
I mean, nobody really cares about it anymore. So who knows?
We're gonna go and kill
Really quick,
people.
do you condone?
Literally, like after it happened, so many people blew up on the internet, being like, "He missed." So I don't know what that tells you.
That's exactly what happens all the time in America.
Do you condemn the Trump shooter and do you condemn political violence?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. So here's why this changes everything. It is because we just saw an image of our president, somebody that has been politically persecuted for years. He was impeached twice. I was there in Battle Creek,
I
Michigan,
wonder
on the night of
why.
the second impeachment.
He's just an obvious criminal. That's why.
This is a man, and you may not agree with it, but what you just said is that you hope something happens. And when Republicans hear that, when conservatives hear that, that does validate that people want violence. And
Somebody from the Heritage Foundation just said that they want a bloodless revolution so long that the
but
left
that's
doesn't
wrong,
have it.
and that is wrong. That is completely wrong. And what you just said.
But these are the people, these are the pundits that you're
and the
relying
reason-
on.
I don't rely on them. You don't know anything about me. You don't know what I watch. You don't know who I listen to. You don't know where I get my.
Well, let me. What did
and I want to finish really quick. The reason why this changes everything is because we just saw a man who was politically persecuted. He was shot, and his first instinct, was to get up, bloodied, beaten, raise his fist, and tell his supporters to fight. Whether or not you agree with that, there is something in that image that resonates with a lot of Americans, and it displays courage, it displays bravery, and a lot of moderates who you probably disagree with. That is going to resonate with them too.
And he said that knowing full and well those could be his final words. He didn't know what happened. When you're in a state of shock like that, when something like that happens to you, he knew those could be his final words. He's gonna go and tell his supporters to fight. See, this is the problem. You guys incite violence. We don't incite
What was
violence.
January 6th?
Dude. Yeah. Oh, she brings it up. January 6th.
January 6th. January 6th was okay.
Ben just said that it started.
100 million Americans are pissed off right now. We just saw our favorite.
I mean, are they really that pissed off? I mean, they're not doing anything. They thought that the election was getting stolen from them, and they decided to charge a government building that was conducting just doing a regular procedure when it came to the voting process. And they charged into a building, and now they're not doing anything.
president gets
Do they
shot
even care?
on national television. Where are the rights? No, I see peaceful support outside of Trump Tower in New York. I see peaceful support all across the country. Social media exploding, Elon Musk endorsing him. That's how we protest. How you guys protest?
When the last convicted felon got shot, George Floyd, you guys rioted. When our convicted felon got shot, peaceful protest.
Okay, let's bring on the disagreeers. You guys.
Oh my God. These people are disgusting.
Want to come on in?
I'm gonna have a visit from the feds.
We're going to hear from them first, and then y'all
gonna go after y'all online hard.
You know, for a minute there, I thought to myself, I thought people who dealt in Earth One facts were coming today. Look, I categorically reject all kinds of political violence against all people. I see you ready in your next line for your Tucker Carlson audition tape. Hold on to it.
Okay. I think I recognize this guy.
Go ahead. Oh, excellent.
I'm pretty sure he was on a gay liberals versus gay conservatives episode. He did pretty well in that, so we'll have to see where he goes here.
Okay, so you didn't have to practice it. I'm just giving you shit. I'm just teasing. Look, nobody really wants to see a president assassinated. There's a small, tiny minority of people who might. But most everyday Americans don't want to see political violence at all. I think were I someone who wanted to use every possible opportunity to improve my electoral chances, I probably would run with a ball that was thrown to me that would make me look like a martyr. But I got to say, none of us represent the people who are going to make this election either way. We all have strong opinions. We all consume political news before 6 weeks out from Election Day. None of us are qualified to speak to the people who will decide this election. But to be clear, I don't think it helped him necessarily just because it's not anywhere near the craziest thing that's probably going to happen between now and November. I think people take for granted that, this is early July. Months will pass. All kinds of crazy things have happened early in previous election cycles that mattered not by Election Day. So, do what you will with your, I assume you genuinely mean arguments about people on the left being more violent than the right, but at the end of the day, to the actual prompt being asked, no, I don't think it will impact the election ultimately.
I mean, it hasn't. I already talked about that. It really hasn't helped his chance. He almost got assassinated, and then Biden dropped out, and that was what most people were focusing on.
Really simple question. What do you think about
before we rebuttal? Let's hear from all the disagreeers. Then we can jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I'll build on that. I think we're too far out from the election for people's memories to retain this. Things move quickly.
It's less than 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months is an eternity. What were you doing 4 months ago? Do you even remember?
I know exactly what I was doing.
I don't think I'll forget.
Well, anyways, the point is the news cycle moves so quickly that people are inundated with new things. And 4 or 5 things. Hold on.
Let him finish.
4 or 5 things are going to happen between now and then that overshadow this. And the saddest thing that I'll say in conclusion is we're hard into gun violence. This really wasn't that big of a deal in the end. Sadly, I hate to say it, but a guy dying in the crowd, 2 people critically injured, and ex-president of the United States nicked in the ear by a bullet should be a big deal. But gun violence is so prevalent in America that people are going to shrug this off. Watch in 2 weeks. Nobody will be talking about this.
Do you think gang violence in Chicago is the same as the former president of the United States almost being murdered?
Can you repeat that?
I think he was more or less trying to talk about school shootings, but what?
You're saying that shootings happen all the time, so it's not that big of a deal. Do you think that the common gun violence that we see in this country, right, shootings happening in inner cities, is the same or equivalent to the former president almost being assassinated?
No, I think the shock of gun violence is what is similar, and people have.
I think that I'm gonna be honest. I think hearing that kids died from a school shooting is going to be a lot more haunting than some ex-president got shot who was very controversial and spouted a lot of hate speech.
Hard into it.
And the way that the media treats the shooter, I mean, it's the same narrative that everybody's trying to build off of. What kind of gun was he using? He was 20 years old. He went to school. He was a loner. Like, everybody submits all these tips saying they knew him. It's getting the same treatment as any other mass shooting.
Wait, really quick. I have a really quick question.
I want him to, because he hasn't asked a question.
I just want to say, what's your name again?
Guy.
Guy. It's a good name, Guy. You said people are going to forget about this, but you know what memes are, right?
Sure.
You don't think Donald Trump raising his fist being shot will be a meme that lives longer than all of us combined?
No.
What happened is mugshot.
It's already expired as a meme. Nobody talks about it.
What do you think?
I don't think it was that iconic of a moment. I think you guys are blowing it a little out of proportion.
So what happened?
What do you two think about your guy on your side here saying that he hopes something happens?
I would condemn that. Yeah.
Good for you guys. That's the
good,
moral.
'cause I-
By the way, he's not saying he hopes. He says he has it coming to him, but based on.
No,
I would actually like you to. Can you clarify
it, dude?
by that?
Yeah, you're gonna have a knock at your door. You better clarify. That's gnarly.
There's some points where all of this is going to start boiling over, right? There are people on my side that get very violent, that get very vitriolic with their comments, right? I went to UCLA, and I'm seeing that we have a lot of students who get very in their minds about their politics, about wanting to protect Gaza, about wanting to make sure that their voices are heard from the left in the Democratic Party. The same thing happens with you guys, though. So we have extremists on both sides that are going to come at some point.
That's not the same.
boil it over.
That's not anything to do with you said you want something to happen.
Because I want this shit to be over.
Wait, can I make a quick comment?
Why would you wish death on him? He doesn't wish death on you.
I never wish death on him.
You said you hope something
You hope something happens.
But what is that something? I hope that there's some sort of political boil-over, right? We're edging to a point where there's going to be some kind of civil war. There's going to be some kind of like interstate violence. That's happening.
All right, so you're hoping for violence.
Robert E. Lee over here.
I hope that we break the point. I hope that we break the dam, where we don't have to keep fighting about policies and whether or not we have conspiracy theorists in government. I hope that we get to the point where we're done with all of it and we can get through this antebellum era.
Does the fact that the 2 people on your side, reflected and said that that's going too far, does that make you reflect on your words and think that maybe you took it too far?
No.
As a Republican, in my life, I talk to thousands of people a day.
I love it when Republicans are like tone policing because they'll say the most like vitriolic shit ever. Like they'll just say insane shit all the time. But as soon as someone on the other side hints at something happening, they're just like, oh God, well, I don't like the tone of that.
Never heard of
Because he also could have just been like, well, I hope he gets thrown in jail. I mean, obviously, I think we all know what he was, trying to hint at. But still, it's always funny when like the political party who loves to incite political violence all the time, it's just like, oh my God, are you trying to incite it? Just so
Republicans
dumb.
ever say they want Biden to die, okay?
I have.
Hey,
Oh my God.
They
this is
definitely
my
have.
opinion.
When you talk, they definitely have.
Okay, it's not your opinion, it's mine I'm sharing right now. I'm sure you have, and I'm sure that's normal, and I guarantee right now Republicans have said that. Guaranteed, okay? I talk to thousands of people a day. All my friends are
I love how she was just like, no, it's like she talked about it at first like it was a fact, but then she was like, but it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion.
Republicans. I've never heard a Republican I know personally wish death or harm against Biden. We simply want him to not be president anymore, okay? Today I woke up, I mean, let's just talk about the past 8 years. Everyone on the left wishes death upon Trump.
That's
or
not
harm.
true.
Well, I just want to make a quick point.
I know.
And I don't like Biden at all, but I felt very sad when he fell off his bicycle.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. It's elder.
Yeah,
Why
I'm
are
not-
you
I'm not-
doing that? Why are you doing
I'm just
that?
telling you, I felt sad for our country.
How
I was
many
like, look at this old man
Republicans
falling off.
actively
We all feel
I
bad. It's literally elder abuse.
When I watch it,
Well, all right, I'll grant you that one wasn't a non sequitur to get away from the point, but that fair.
when he fell off that bicycle, I felt sad. I was like, that's our president. And I know, I'm dead serious.
Jesus
I felt sad.
Christ.
Aren't you impressed he's riding a bike at 80 years old? And
Okay.
He's not riding it.
Yeah,
Wait, time out. Time out.
Okay,
He's not
okay.
riding it. He's
Hold on.
falling over on it. That's it. He was
Jesus Christ, man. This is gonna be hard to watch. I've watched several of these. One of them had like Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit. Just generally stupid people. This is probably the only one where I'm just like, I don't want to watch this just because of this guy alone. Like this guy just is trying so hard that it comes off as pathetic.
Can I go first so I can just be done?
Sure. Sure.
My ex used to say that to me.
Yeah, literally. First of all, you said that you actually potentially were wrong and apologized about some things, so amazing. I wish people I used to be friends with would just say, hey, like Emily, maybe you were right about a couple things, and I would take them back with loving open arms because it's like, I understand. Okay? The irony of being like, we're the moral party after you are all excited. You two specifically are very excited about assassination. It's just the funniest thing in the world to me. Nikki Haley is a Democrat. We all know that. That's probably why you guys are more inclined to maybe like her.
She cheated on.
No. No, you're just an idiot. Maybe that's why your friends won't take you back. It's because you're an idiot.
And other than that, it is
Supposedly.
it is funny to sit here and be like, I miss the good old politicians like, you know, the Clintons, who everyone just ends up dead around them. Obama, who committed many war crimes and loved, you know, carpet bombing children. And you know, when he's getting nuts.
You support Trump. Trump did a lot more of that. What are you talking about? Like during his last few days in office, he accepted so many death penalties. He was just like, yeah, kill him now. He was just like, speed it up. We gotta kill all these people. What the fuck are you talking about? What, now fucking deaths overseas matter to you because it's somebody else? You literally have nothing to talk about in regards to this.
Getting blown in the White House, all these really great people we used to have in office. Of course, I think there's a complete double standard.
Nobody said any of what you just said.
Who has something on the prompt?
Jesus
specifically about
Christ.
that?
Well, you know, first of all, you guys,
Convicted felon shit,
you
our
guys are
president.
obviously very racist for saying that because 1/3 of all black African American men have a felony conviction. So
Are we? Wait. Is we gonna just? Is it okay for people to throw out the racist word in this debate? Is that
That's not
are we
racist.
considering-
This is so. I really do not care for this guy. Not him. The guy in the blue jacket suit. It's just. What is this guy doing there?
Not-
you're the racist because you want
I
one
would
black
never
people not
accuse you
eligible
of being
for-
racist, my friend.
Well, then why are you so against people having a felony? America's.
I'm not-
Let
no.
me just say this: America's built on second chances. A lot of people make mistakes.
Sure.
So a person, whether they get arrested or not, I want to live in a world where we give second chances. So you say somebody gets arrested and they should be negated from having any public office.
No.
I think
No.
that's what you.
I would love to go into detail.
But that doesn't-
I
doesn't-
would love to go into detail.
Let's try and avoid an attacking.
I'm not trying to
other,
personally
right?
attack.
No, you already did. You called us
Racist.
racist.
Well, I'm saying that I guess.
As a rhetorical flourish, but it's too much, and you need to be a little more respectful of other people.
Okay, but still, you might still be racist. I don't know you that well. My point is, you're trying to exclude a big population of the country that are African Americans from running for office, and I think that's disrespectful.
Well, and neither. Well, all right.
Well, here's why I don't think it's disqualifying. I think it would be one thing if Donald Trump was convicted of, say, taking foreign bribes. And
Oh my
benefiting
God,
from
this
foreign
guy's a
countries as result of
stand-up
his office.
comedian?
This is more or less business improprieties, and he was convicted on 34 counts. Can any of you list 4 of those convictions and articulate?
This guy is apparently a stand-up comedian. Oh my God, he has a compilation of all the TV and movie shows and movies he's been in. This guy's just a nerd. He just sucks.
I want to sing a little song to my favorite. This goes out to my girl, Kamala.
Kamala.
Want to get you pregnant, have a child. No abortion in that womb. I'm going to vacuum with a broom. I'm going to do what I want.
Oh my God. Who the fuck in the Jubilee company, whatever the fuck, the people who decide who gets to be on these shows or not, which one of them saw this and was just like, yeah, this guy can come onto our show? What the fuck is this?
Specifically why those charges disqualify a man from being an effective leader.
Yes. Falsifying business records.
To commit a campaign violation and hide information from the American people voting for him in 2016.
No, what's interesting is you're bringing that up. He was also the inciting the riot at January 6th, right? You guys, yes, you did. Yes, you did. And you guys are saying you don't support political violence because of what just happened at Trump's rally, right? You guys are attacking us because you guys are attacking us because we think.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sit through this. Like, this is terrible. Like, this might be one of the worst ones I ever seen when it comes to these Jubilee middle grounds. Let me see what other prompts they have. Or we'll honestly probably just watch the entire thing. Maybe, I don't know.
Tragedy, what happened at his rally recently, but you guys don't say anything about what happened on January 6th, and you guys think that's okay, and you guys aren't recognizing that Trump's at all.
What about Paul Pelosi? I'm sure, Alex, you were quite sympathetic when he was.
I thought it was funny that he.
Oh, you thought it was funny that he was almost killed.
It
wasn't political violence.
Wait, 1 second.
He wasn't almost killed.
I have a question. You just made a claim. You just made a claim that we said nothing about political violence.
If we're all over talking, no one's going to be able to hear anything.
That was one of Trump's convictions, right or wrong?
Inciting
a riot.
When did somebody say that?
Because you are attacking us. Because yes, you did. You guys attacked us. You're saying that we want Trump to be assassinated.
Yeah, I mean, well, she's right there. Literally, the Republicans have been, for the most part, the political violence party. Again, like, yeah, Paul Pelosi is a great point. Literally, some groiper from the right literally tried to break into the Pelosi house, trying to find Nancy, because of, the way that Republicans talk about her. Definitely drove that man to attack her. And yeah, he did almost die from that. If Trump is elected, I fear the country will move too far right. I mean, yeah, we'll see where this goes.
Will the agreeers please step forward?
All right, 2025, Project 2025. Like, this is a clear agenda that's been outlined by people that are involved in the Trump administration.
Trump distanced himself from Project 2025. He said some on the severe right came up with it. He called the proposals extreme. He said, I don't know what the hell it is. He definitely does. He definitely does know what it is. He's just separating himself from it because it's not a good look. Like, for people in the middle, he understands that that's going to drive them away. But yeah, acting as if he's not going to try to act upon that once he gets in office is completely insane.
In my lifetime, the Supreme Court made it illegal for two people of the same gender to be arrested for having sex in the privacy of their home. So when I see things in Project 2025 that talk explicitly about emphasizing nuclear families with one mother and one father, when I see, actually, it goes into great detail about the low-key, covert ways of disempowering, like dismantling the rights and privileges that LGBTQ people have fought for the last.
And this kind of plays into the whole recent thing with JD Vance and childish cat ladies, because that does play a part with Project 2025. And when JD does talk about that, that is what he's kind of referring to. Like, when he talks about oh, we need to tax the bad things when it comes to how family dynamics work, I don't know, and we need to tax less on things that help with the family value, shit like that. Obviously, what's going to play a part into that is sexual orientation. Obviously, he implies there that he wants to tax gay people as well. This is just and again, I think because of how the Democrats have successfully so far, in my opinion, been able to weaponize that, being look at this weird shit that JD Vance said about families and how people who are without children are psychotic and weird. Look at what this is saying, and that's gonna gross people out, especially when it's very almost anti-step parent, which again is weird because being a step parent is not something that is exclusive to the left at all. So yeah, I think this also plays into Trump wanting to diss himself from 2025, even though more than likely he definitely does agree with it. The reason why he's trying to distance himself is because he obviously sees with the JD stuff, and even before then, that it's not going to play out well with the swing voters.
One, I'd love to, if we could stop the pity pretend party. Trump is not an anti-LGBTQ president by any means. I mean, this is a man, are you guys going to ignore Rick Grinnell? He made an ambassador. Are you guys going to ignore the log cabin Republicans hosting events that I've been at Mar-a-Lago? Again, I'm very traditional, me personally. A lot of things in Project 2025 I would agree with, but Trump does not, and that's why he's publicly denounced it. I don't know why everyone's acting like these are all his policies, this is all the things he's going to implement. It's not even close. And I don't know why you guys are just pretending like it is. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I'd love to know why.
Do you want to speak to the prompt specifically about the country moving too far to the right if he's elected? You don't feel...
I don't. I would love to see us getting, because I think the family unit is the most broken thing in America right now. I'd love to see the family unit be fixed and a lot of traditional values be reestablished. And I think we got...
So he's just like, I'm voting for Trump because I think we need to reestablish traditional values, which is code for just, heterosexual relationships, and also forcing people to have kids, or very much pushing them to have kids even if they don't want to, because they'll still benefit from it. Like, it's just so fucking dumb. But also, like, yeah, this is not what Trump wants, but if he does get elected, that's what's going to happen. Like, what?
We have America to a much more traditional state where we were thriving, and the Judeo-Christian values that our country was founded upon.
How do you do that? You get rid of gay people? I gotta say, there's no version of history in America where people like me have thrived, so I would hate to go back.
Yeah, you still
You got a whole month out of the year. Your flag is flown at the White House. Your LGBTQ people are invited over to the White House. They're getting
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to worry about your rights getting taken away. You got a whole month. You got 1 month.
given positions. Sam Britton, gay people are given positions all of the time because of their
I gotta say, at first I thought you were kidding.
I am very traditional. I am Catholic. I don't agree with same-sex marriage, but I think it's extremely narcissistic for you to say that you would feel unsafe if a more conservative person got into office. As somebody who disagrees with your lifestyle, I could not care less about what you do. I would go ahead and go do it, but nobody is threatening your life.
Okay, so I disagree with your lifestyle, but I'm also going to vote for someone who is going to definitely affect. It's just so dumb. Like, don't be so obviously like I hate your lifestyle, and also try to back up that Trump is a pro-LGBT or like isn't anti-LGBT.
And I think being right nowadays just means that you don't want your country overrun with illegal immigrants. You don't want your daughters and sisters raped by people in the bathroom or having trees in their bathrooms, and you want a secure border.
Jesus
I
Christ.
really appreciate being allowed to finish.
And by the way, I want to just clarify. Are you raping and killing is I'm talking about not trans. I'm talking about illegal immigrants.
Understood. Just I want to be clear. Sexual
Yeah,
orientation
I'm glad
is a
he
lifestyle.
cleared that up.
A choice. It's not optional. It's not choosable.
What? You can't choose who you have sex with?
You can choose who you have sex with, but you cannot choose who you're attracted to. It is what it is.
I don't know
Sure.
about
Okay.
that.
Could you please?
Okay, then fuck a dude. If it's that simple. If it's that simple, you should have no problem to fuck a dude.
Look. There's gay men that don't have sex. They don't have gay sex.
Would you please choose to be attracted to me right now?
No, because
We're not going to go into that, you guys.
I am.
That is another.
I would really
Jesus
like to-
Christ.
Look, I understand why you, as someone who has not lived a queer life, would not understand why someone who has would feel really petrified by this moment. And I get it. I realize that it's hard to appreciate other people's experiences when you haven't lived them. And what I resent, to be honest, is that.
That's like the whole like choosing who you're attracted to thing is so dumb. It's like, okay, do you choose to be attracted to women then? So what, do you have to fight off your natural attraction to? It's just so dumb. Like, no, you just feel that way. Like, okay, explain your attraction to women. Do you choose to be attracted to them? So you're saying it's basically not that hard for you to be gay. Like, it's just dumb logic through and through.
You're not willing to take my word for it. That you seem to think that you know well enough to be able to speak cogently to the experience of people who do feel scared, do feel unsafe. And you know, I appreciate that that there are values that you hold that you would like to see upheld further, and I appreciate that too. But I was an adult when I first had access to a conversation where the word values didn't mean I was kind of only sort of allowed in the room. You know, there are people who say things you just said, and right after that, talk vaguely about how people like me are a threat to children just by being near them. And
I don't believe that.
Well, I appreciate that you.
But no one here has said that.
No one here has said that, but I want to be clear. The reason why people like me are petrified by what you've said is because I personally, time and time again, and the vast majority of every queer person I've ever known, has lived the experience of a backslide from what you said into something really.
Did I disagree?
No. Well, one of the things you said was not agreeing with same-sex marriage. That's a thing that's really scary for me. I understand how, as someone who inherently has access to the privilege of being heterosexual, it would not seem like that big of a deal to you to say. But you know. LGBTQ people make up less than 10% of the population. Trans people make up a tiny percentage of the population and are among the most vulnerable people in our society. And you know, I gotta say, on behalf of my friends who are trans and non-binary, I'm offended that you would use the word. But to be clear,
Semantics.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It really isn't. Okay, hold on.
No, it's not. That's just hate speech.
Fair, yes.
You can't f around by just calling people all the time. Just the same way that you can't walk around and I'm gonna walk out here and someday get called just because I look weird. Just because
You don't look that weird. I didn't even think you're non-binary.
Shut the fuck up about it. It doesn't matter.
You look
What
like
you
a
say really matters. It really matters for affecting people's mental well-being, for affecting people trying to live a better life. People live in this city because it's a lot better to live here than to live in Oklahoma, Iowa, Kansas, because trans people get murdered. Gay people get murdered. I don't care.
Yeah.
Can I go?
Yeah, let's bring it back to the prompt then. Yeah,
Okay,
go
the
ahead.
prompt was?
The prompt was.
Far right.
That Trump being
yeah.
elected will take the country far.
All right.
There we go.
So I try to follow politics all around the world. All the comments I see at this point, I would agree. Far right now is just normal. That's what everyone seems to say. Let's try to find a middle ground here. I am a very.
She keeps saying like, oh, this is like the. I don't know. When it comes to people like her, where she always has to solidify the fact. She's like, oh, I always pay attention to politics. Oh, I always, I'm paying attention to politics all over the world. It's very clear she doesn't. Like, if that was the case, you wouldn't have to say it all the time.
People call me sellout Republican. I try to be a very modern Republican. I didn't like the Republican Party my whole life. Democrats to me have two winning platforms. Abortion, I'm a pro-choice Republican. It's the worst thing you can be, okay? No one gets more hate in this world than I do. Trust me. They want me dead. And Trump came out and he was like, I will not support a countrywide ban on abortion. I would leave it up to the states. As someone who's pro-choice across the board, if it was me in charge, I would have every state the woman gets to choose, okay? Like I said, Republicans hate that. I know. See, there you go. But that's what I believe as a woman. And it's one of those things where I'm like, you know, if they made it state by state, and 90% of people.
Yeah, and that's the case. Is like, even with Republicans, it's not that popular to be anti-choice. It isn't. We saw that with polls following Roe v. Wade, where there were people on the right who did not really care for, a good chunk, not a majority, but a good chunk of people on the right who were just like, yeah, I don't support this. I think it should just be everyone's choice. And it's also what we saw with like the 2022 elections as well, like the midterm elections, where people were just like, everyone thought it was going to be a red wave. And then they really hammered in on the abortion, not just the Democrats in opposition, but in Republicans. They were just like, yeah, they were flexing that Roe v. Wade got overturned. And people were just like, that's gross, man. That's gross. Like, this affects us too. It's not just a whole thing. Like, abortions is not just a left-leaning issue. Like, Democrats aren't the only ones who get abortions. There's plenty of Republicans who get abortions too. So yeah, people are going to get grossed out by this. And it's only because of people who are kind of really further right, very established right, well, a majority of people on the right who are just kind of weirdos like that.
People in a state wanted that. I don't agree with that.
And they did win for the most part. They did get a lot of states during those elections, but it was far from a red wave as they thought it was going to be.
Move out of state. I don't like the government interfering on women's bodies. The same with the vaccine. Second winning platform, Democrats have, so that's gone. He's already endorsed that. They don't have the abortion thing anymore. Second winning platform is Project 2025, right? Okay, he came out. It's already on text, paper, tweet, whatever. He said, I do not endorse this. I am not with them. He actually said, I think a lot of these things are freaking nuts.
He also said, I think a lot of these things are okay.
I think a lot of them are okay too, but let's go.
I don't.
Let her finish.
Okay, he came out, he said, this is not me, I don't endorse this, I think a lot of this is nutty. So it's this thing where like people keep pulling it back to that. He already said no. By the way, I grew up in LA. He knows me very well and my entire family. I love gay people. All my best friends have been gay. All my friends are gay Republicans now. I want gay people to be able to be married. I think that is perfectly fine. I think love is love. And other than that, I'm just like, I don't get religion involved. It's like, do your thing. I just don't think it's fair that they have like special rights that other people don't have. And now it's shut down.
Like what? I hate the whole idea of like, you guys get Pride Month. So what? What, do you think gays get extra right? Like, it's just like, Pride Month is essentially just a marketing term. It means nothing, really. Like, yeah, there's people who go out and celebrate with pride parades, all that stuff. It doesn't mean anything, though. Nobody gets special rights because it's Pride Month. Nobody does. Like, it's not like the government was like, oh, it's Pride Month, you guys can, like, I don't know, steal. You guys can just commit crimes. I do like how they directly went for that because, yeah, it's a stupid position to have. Be like, yeah, you guys get all these special rights. No, you don't. There's not even one that you can go towards outside of Pride Month. And again, it's a nothing month, honestly. Yeah, people celebrate. It's great. Love it. As a non-binary person, pansexual myself, I love it. But it really doesn't mean, outside of the celebration, it means nothing. We don't get any special rights, and that's fine. We just want equal rights. That's it.
More on your team about literally all these things. You're not true.
Well, here you have one person that explicitly supports LGBTQ, and then you have some person that explicitly doesn't support LGBTQ. But both of us and both, this whole side is saying, do what you want. We're not going to threaten you. We're not going to hurt you.
But
isn't that proof that there's going to be no violence? And by the way, I think that self-victimization of any kind is shameful. I wasn't coming at you because you're gay. I think when people make themselves victim of any group, it's shameful.
Didn't you guys literally just make yourself the victims of being like, the left is, inciting political violence? You guys literally victimized yourself in the beginning of this.
Is there ever, I just want to
just so fucking stupid.
It's not about me being gay, but I self-victimized?
Yes.
Okay, that's a trash thing to say.
Why do I have to lie? You can go on my answer.
But it has nothing to do with your sexual orientation. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I'm saying it does. You don't have to mean to cause harm.
We haven't heard from everyone on this team. I'm gonna, take the floor.
So I get to say something, okay? And I am empathetic. I have gay family members that I love, but I think in gay culture that gay men have more prevalent sex probably than heterosexual relationships. And oftentimes I would be scared too if the relevancy of HIV was much higher if I was sleeping with men. So I understand that fear, and that is a little dangerous. Now, on top of that, when you look at Donald Trump, you say we're gonna go far right. Everybody knows Caitlyn Jenner. You guys know Caitlyn Jenner. Well, she's allowed to pee in the women's room. So if
in some states.
In all of Mar-a-Lago. So
what does this have to do with the prompts? Also, yeah, she can't pee in certain states. That's illegal.
Donald Trump will let a transgender person pee in their bathroom.
And?
So that means that he doesn't dislike trans.
The problem is that the Republican platform does.
The Republican platform, yeah, and also Trump definitely flies into anti-trans rhetoric. He just doesn't go that hard on it because he knows it's not that winning of an argument. Like, yeah, there are people who are transphobic who are in the middle, but he is aware, at least to the fact that when you really hammer in home the anti-trans narrative, it makes people kind of grossed out with your sentiment. Like, this means nothing. He's an idiot. What is he doing here?
You
Well,
guys have
I
come
don't
out
know.
here saying it, besides you, that there's a serious problem with LGBT.
I don't think this is the problem.
You agree that it's not going to go more far right,
let
especially
him
not the
finish.
president.
This is my point. Is I don't think anybody really, even on the conservative side, care about people being gay, because there's gay conservatives, obviously. But what's going on now is there's an attack on
I mean, do they?
children now where you have to have a pride flag in first grade. You're teaching sexual education at way too young of an age. And in that sexual education, they're not just teaching you heterosexual sex. They're teaching you gay anal sex. To me, that is called indoctrination. So we don't like the gay indoctrination of young children where you're giving them
Please,
hormones to
just explode, man.
reassign their gender that are permanent, that they say that they're not permanent. You're giving kids mastectomies, 14-year-olds. Chloe Cole got a mastectomy.
No, you are not.
There's a lot of detransitioners. So there's an attack by the LGBTQ community, whatever you want to call it, on young people. If the LGBTQ just wants to do it with adults, I think we'd all be okay with
Wow.
it.
That's the face I made when I saw my first family.
So much misinformation there. It's not a regular thing for kids to get mastectomies. There are very rare kids, and it doesn't have to do with transitioning where that happens. But just spouting out there is the problem. That's just extremely gross and weird behavior that you would. First of all, he knows that off the bat. Like the fact that he knows someone by name, he knows one person by name, to be like, this is what happened to her. It's extremely fucking weird. Like, it is. First of all, it is not a common thing for people to transition anyways. Trans people are a very marginalized group. They're a very small group. Very small. So it's not a normal occurrence. This guy's just such an idiot.
Listen. I want to be real clear about this.
We don't want drag queen story time.
I want to be real clear about this.
I'm loud and clear. We
You're
don't
not
want
listening. I wish you would.
Go ahead.
Fewer than 10% of people detransition. And the vast majority of those people, I'll let you finish once I'm done.
Research and reports from individual doctors and clinics suggest that detransitioning is rare. A U.S. survey of nearly 28,000 people found that 8% of respondents reported some kind of detransition. Of this 8%, 62% only did so temporarily due to societal, financial, or family pressures.
Fewer than 10%, okay? And the vast majority of them specifically report that they do it because of social pressure or being rejected by their family. But let's be perfectly clear. What you call indoctrination, which I consider a bigoted thing to say, and I'll explain why. Hold your gunpowder, I'll explain why. I'll explain why. Part of my journey as a queer person was finding positive role models, which I didn't have. And let's be clear, you conflate a thing that isn't really a thing, indoctrinating kids with anal sex, which is a ridiculous thing to say, with what's actually being banned is permission to acknowledge. In fact, in my home state in Tennessee, I'll let you know when I'm done. In my home state in Tennessee, anybody under the age of 18 who expresses in any way being something other than heteronormative, their school system is required to report it to their parents. And I have to tell you, I would be lucky. Look at me. I'm lucky because my parents wouldn't have kicked me out. I'm lucky that my parents wouldn't have sent me to conversion therapy. Listen to me. What I'm telling you, friend, is that there are millions of queer people whose parents would kick them out, send them to conversion therapy, shun them. I have a friend, actually, to whom this happened. He was unable to get in-state tuition for college because his parents refused to fill out the FAFSA for him. And that's a tiny little inconsequential example of the pain that being different from the get causes. And when you do things like conflate some kind of abuse on children by making space for queer people to be acknowledged to exist, which is really all that's happening, you hurt all of us. You want to get into hormone replacement therapy, you want to get into gender-affirming care, fine, but I want to be clear, putting a flag in this right now, if we're going to talk about it, we should talk about it because you do not know what you're talking about.
Let me just say one question.
One last thing.
You don't know.
But what percentage of gay men identify as being sexually abused as a child, would you say?
I don't have that in front of me.
Very little.
A 2022 Vanderbilt study found that 83% of lesbian, gay, bisexual, or queer individuals reported sexual or emotional abuse as children. They also had worse mental health in adulthood when compared to their heterosexual peers. Also, again, just another weird question. Like, you're a fucking weirdo if you actually know this stuff off the bat.
Oh, give me.
That's gonna take.
Are you saying that
Child sexual abuse causes men to be gay later in life? Yeah, there's that.
That's a whole.
What? I can say this confidently as someone who was not, as a kid, who was not inappropriately, handled in that manner. That does not play a factor into all as to why I like dudes.
Polar thing. I'll give you a quick 5-second wrap up.
I'm the one statistic.
Yeah, that's a fucking weird thing to say. Just to be like, oh no, you're gay because you got touched as a child.
What's important is after transitioning, the suicide rate, which is real high.
That's false.
true.
I can prove you're wrong.
2021 Harvard research found that gender-affirming surgeries were associated with 42 reduction in psychotic distress and a 44 reduction in suicide ideation when compared with transgender and gender diverse people who had not had gender affirming surgery but wanted it. Yeah, when they can't get the care they need, when they can't get just in like the form of mental support or gender affirming care because of their state's legislature or because of, societal or family pressure, it's going to lead to more suicidal thoughts. I want to go back to exactly what she said.
That's a whole other thing. I'll give you a quick 5-second wrap up.
The one statistic I think is the most important is after transitioning, the suicide rate, which is
No, the suicide rate goes down after transitioning. The suicide rate before is way higher.
real high.
That is not. That's
Literally
sir, I can
not
prove you
true.
wrong. I can prove you wrong.
And it literally got
Should
pointed
be
out
on the
here.
highest rate of suicide.
Because they're the most
Why though?
prevalent.
That is no.
Probably because of
No,
hormones and things like that.
I will go get the data for you. You pulled yours. I would be happy to pull mine. 86% of people who have access to gender affirming care, this is a studied fact, are less likely.
Unfortunately, we do have to move on to the next one just because of time reasons. All right, everyone.
No,
There should
you
be an
should.
age limit
Okay,
for
that's
presidency.
fucking shitty. You definitely should have let him at least say his piece. There should be an age limit for the presidency.
Will the
Absolutely.
agreeers please step forward?
Yeah, we got. As soon as we got a younger candidate, all the Republicans now are like, no, we shouldn't have an age limit. Now that they have the old man in the race, they're just like, no. I think this might have been a debate before she swapped out because I haven't heard them mention her at all. Because this has been very Trump heavy. I don't think they ever noticed by it. Also, come on, dude. There should definitely be an age limit. What are you doing? Please do not tell me he's a Biden rider.
Yesterday, Donald Trump was shot in the head, and he got up immediately, raised his fist in the air, started fist pumping and yelling, fight, fight, fight. The next morning, he got up and he made his 9 o'clock tea time. Age is just a number, and Donald Trump proves that day in and day out, and he's proved that.
But he definitely, shows it when he speaks.
Over the last 10 years, he proved that during his presidency. I know 30-year-olds who couldn't do that, who can't even wake up after drinking and make their tea times in the morning. This is a man who got shot in the head and made his tea time, and he's swinging dingers off of the tea.
Getting shot in the head is a bit of an exaggeration. He got scratched in the ear. That's what happened. He didn't exactly go out on a bender and just chug beer after beer after beer. No, he's an old man who more than likely went to sleep early and just got up for his regular tea time. Yeah, old people wake up early. That's not a surprise to anyone. He's old.
Tea box, like a legend. Why do we care? Because he can do the job. Age is just a number, and some people like Joe Biden, they're old, and it does affect them. They fall going up a flight of stairs. And so in that case, I think, yeah, you're too old. But there are people that are around Joe Biden's age, like Donald Trump, that prove that it is just a number, and he can effectively do the job.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Because I've seen hours of footage that portray Trump as clearly senile, and you haven't, obviously.
I saw him got shot yesterday.
No, I
got
know,
up
like
Oh my God.
Doesn't senile to me.
By the way, this is the guy who's just like, you shouldn't victimize yourself. But he's literally just being like, my president got shot.
The thing about aging is it's not like it's a one slide. People have their moments on the way down. So everybody get, sure. All I'm saying is I've seen him be remarkably, honestly, scarily not fully with even the sentence he's making. And so I'm just curious, do you think it's possible that we're in different news bubbles and you might feel differently if you were seeing more of the stuff that I see, for instance?
I've seen videos where it appears that way, but so I think that it can go both ways. But again, I also saw Donald Trump get shot in the head and wake up at 9 a.m. and make his tea time. I see the fire that's within. That is undeniable, and that is why earlier we said that moment changed everything, because the fire that you saw in that man is undeniable. There's video proof of it. There are pictures, and that's something that doesn't go away. That's something that's in the back of your head for the rest of your life. I know it will be in mine.
Yeah, I don't
Let's hear from another disagreeer.
He's just not senile. I mean, Trump is not senile. I mean, I met the man. I've lost count how many times, and he is a very down-to-earth guy. He's completely normal. I've never seen one slip up or anything. Will he maybe misquote a name or something once or twice in a way that makes sense? Not like Putin, Zelensky, Biden thing. Yeah, maybe, sure. But he has passed all his tests. He has done everything he needs to do to prove that he is the most cognitive.
it's interesting you say, 'cause,
let's bring it back to the prompt. Do you think that there should be an age limit for presidency?
No, I think I'm all in support of like cognitive tests, of course, but age limit, no. I think it does affect people differently, and I think there are certain people who age affects them differently, and it can take a toll in their life.
Well, I'm going to pass it on to Emily.
Yeah, I mean, I hope, after him, the next person's younger. Totally fine by me. I would say, though, I wouldn't want them too young. I do think the country is better off with conservative values, and, I don't want some young person running the world that does believe, you can have drag shows in front of children with your penis exposed. And
Those are not all the same.
Can I finish?
Sure, I
and
apologize.
I don't want someone who's being like, yeah, it's totally normalized to have like 14 gender and all these different sexes and to do things in front of children.
But what does that have to do with younger age? Because, okay, if it's a younger age conservative, they're just going to be the same thing. God, they're just a bunch of idiots on the side, aren't they? Like, what does this have to do with younger age? Like, you didn't say a younger Democrat. You're just saying young person in general. If it's a dumber, if it's a younger Republican, wouldn't they just share these values anyways? What's your point with this? Or you're just like, no, all young people are woke? You look pretty young yourself. Does that mean you're woke? What is this? I don't know.
Children and open borders are good, and I do think those are beliefs of younger people, and that's why it's impressive when younger people are in right-wing politics, and I do respect it, and that's why I frankly would want someone older that's more conservative. I think it's better for the country and everyone's safety. I wouldn't want this young person on TikTok.
No,
like,
I want. You don't understand. I want our president to be like one step away from joining a nursing home. I want someone who does not relate to me at all.
And
Like, what's the age limit? Where would you say?
I would say anything under like 45, I wouldn't even be comfortable with.
I just feel like you guys
What?
editorialize a lot
Jesus.
in ways that are hard for me to respond
This is
to
like that
because-
This is like a Vivek Ramaswamy being like, I'm trying to go for a younger demographic to vote for me, to be the Republican nominee, but I also want to raise the voting age so that these young people who will vote for, who I want to vote for me, will not be able to vote at all. It's just so fucking stupid.
You know, I would say a point you made makes total sense to me, but you folded in there some pretty sensationalist and not necessarily backed by
And she
data.
has a YouTube channel.
Well, I mean,
Okay,
no. I just wish we could dig deeper.
channel.
I just wish
I
we
have
could dig
one
deeper
too.
into some of this. I just wish we would dig deeper into some of this because I mean I think there's a hearty debate to be had over you know what you call 9 genders or what you say about the border. I mean I would love to have a hearty, earnest, honest debate about those things. We haven't.
Well, I know. I want to go on to you.
Well, you said candidates. I think the best candidate other than Joe Biden would be Michael Obama, the transgender that's married to Barack. And you vibe with that?
God, he's so not funny. He's just the worst. Dude, please quit your comedy career. It is never going to work. This guy will definitely make more money working minimum wage at a fast food place than he will ever get in his comedy career because this shit just sucks.
So I think that would be the best replacement. And I do like the minimum age. Like there should be like 25 should be the minimum, but there should be no limit. Like if you can compete and win, you should be able to play.
Do you always though like find really shitty ways to insult people? Is that, like
How is that insulting?
That's probably the one thing that I really agreed with this guy, the long-haired guy. He was just like, imagine how small his dick is. Like this is small dick energy. Like the fact that you always have to try to make yourself out to be the funny one, and you just bomb. Just like it's not even the people on his side aren't even laughing. That's how much he fucking sucks at this comedy bit. Jesus Christ.
He said he's not binary. So is Michelle Obama or Michael, whatever.
I guess if I
He reminds me of the kid in like middle school who would always just try to like joke around and make an ass of himself, who thought like, you know, being funny was just annoying person to an uncomfortable end. Like that's who this guy reminds me of. He has no reason to be in any political conversation. He's just a clown.
I have to explain to you
That
why
Michael has a
that's such a
dick?
cruel thing to say to somebody. There's no point in
How is that
I'm
cruel?
gonna take us back.
Oh my God.
Wait, time out. How is saying non-binary cruel? Explain to me how
No, that's not what was cruel. But we're not.
What's cruel comparing to Michael Obama?
We're gonna move on. Just for time's sake, I wish we could.
Okay.
I really do wish we could. You gotta move on to the next prompt. The next prompt is: with this election, our democracy is at threat.
They really need to screen people. They really need to screen people before they pick them to come on here. Because, like, and here's the thing. I know Jubilee is an entertainment, company, basically. They think this is going to be entertaining. I'm not saying that from, like, oh, you need to, like, keep it classy. No, there are just more entertaining people you can get. This guy sucks. There are sadly better conservative comedians out there.
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump did not take his loss in 2020 very well, and I worry this time he's learned from his
I mean,
mistakes.
that's kind of downplaying that.
Put people in positions that prevent us from having free and fair elections moving forward. So that's basically my biggest concern right there, is that the people he'll put into these positions will make up for what he failed to achieve last time.
In the 2020 election, Donald Trump won all 50 states when it came to in-person voting. Joe Biden won all 50.
In 2020, an in-person voting turnout decreased to an all-time low of 54%, while mail-in ballots increased to 46%. There is no evidence to support the claim that the 2020 election was fraudulent.
States when it came to mail-in ballots. So that opened up the door to fraud, in my opinion. I think it's very obvious that the election was fraudulent. And the reason why this election is such a threat to our democracy is because I think they're going to do it again, I think they're going to cheat. And it's very easy for them to do it, especially mail-in ballots still existing. So if they do cheat again, which I think is highly likely, because Joe Biden's a potato and a corpse, I think it is a threat to our democracy because people...
Okay, so this was definitely before the swap out. Or I don't think this... So yeah, this is definitely kind of outdated. I feel like that definitely came across with like Trump getting shot being a topic, because like nobody cares about it now. Like that whole point they made earlier, nobody cares about it. I feel like they could have probably redone this instead of coming out with this one, because like now this is just kind of outdated because now there's a lot more stuff we can talk about in terms of this whole debate.
There's all faith and hope, and I think January 6th, an event probably much worse than that will actually happen.
Can I ask a quick question? Donald Trump voted by mail. Do you have an issue with that?
Oh, come on. I'm talking about.
What do you mean, oh, come on? That's the fact.
Donald Trump, yeah, I don't care how Donald Trump votes, but I care about the the 22 million illegal immigrants coming. The biggest margin in an election was Reagan's last election when he won. He won by 17 million votes. Now and there's New York Times people said this, over 22 million illegal immigrants have come across to our country.
More than 24 million people have illegally entered the United States since fiscal year 2000. The Pew Research Center puts the number of illegal immigrants in the U.S. at 1.5 million. There is no evidence to support the claim that hundreds of thousands of migrants have registered to vote illegally.
So if they just vote for a Democratic candidate, which they normally do, they can rig every election through that method.
People who aren't citizens can't vote.
Yes, they can.
No, they
in
can't.
Arizona,
Republicans made it illegal in 1995.
Okay, no, you're right.
You don't think an illegal, let me just say this. You don't think an illegal immigrant has ever voted in the federal election?
No, because it's not.
Oh my God!
No, actually, I disagree with that.
There was literally no proof. There was literally none. They tried multiple times. Before January 6th, they tried multiple times to find fraudulent data. Even independent groups who had who were more right-leaning, when they tried to pass, some along as being fraudulent, it came out that they were just not aware of how it worked. Like, they found nothing.
You don't think no, this guy, the delegate guy, you're so smart. You don't think an illegal immigrant has ever voted in the presidential federal election?
Probably not.
Oh my God.
I disagree.
Dude, you're going to get that on tape. That's how slow
Jesus Christ.
slow he is?
You don't think an illegal immigrant has ever voted in a...
In the 2016 election, the Brennan Center for Justice found only 30 instances of suspected non-citizen voting. These incidents, which were just suspected, not proven, accounted for 0.0001% of the votes cast in that election.
How many Republicans made it illegal?
You don't think people break the law? You don't think people break the law?
Would you like to share?
Yeah, but there's a whole procedure to make sure that doesn't happen, and it's still incredibly rare that it does. You're just an idiot.
What was the prompt? I'm sorry. You're playing this character right now, and it's really exhausting. No, you're
different
exhausting.
No, you're definitely.
You're different in every other room except when you're on a camera. You have some other personality.
I'm a pimp on a blimp. Well, you guys can't compete with me. I'm a master debater.
What that is,
Oh, God.
I would feel sad too if I were you.
this is not a competition thing. It's just
It is.
This is an act for you, and it's embarrassing.
It's not an
and
act at
it's
all.
exhausting
You're embarrassing
listening.
that you're terrified that you can't murder your baby. You're terrified that you can't
Oh my God.
make an abortion and murder your baby.
I know, it's not a baby.
We're talking.
If you don't think in your stomach that's a baby,
Hey, we're talking about.
more embarrassing.
My friends,
You wanna murder a baby.
my friends. We're talking about the prompt right now is about democracy. I think we can all agree that's a really important topic to talk about, right? We got an audience right here. People are listening. Let's not waste this time. Am I right?
I've done this thing before.
Then don't have him on there, because he clearly does not care about having a conversation. Like, I feel like at some point Jubilee needs to bring in a whole statement of being like, at some point we can just kick you out and find someone else. They need to have backup plans so that idiots like this just can't, because more than likely he probably will see a boost in followers from this, just a bunch of annoying ass people on the right just being like, yeah, this guy speaks to me. And maybe sooner rather than later they'll find out this guy isn't funny at all. So they'll probably leave. But yeah, this guy is obviously just there to see an increase in followers. He has no interest in really talking about this. He's just a dumb idiot.
Really having a hard time right now because I feel like we're not trying to find each other. We're trying to make each other wrong. And it's not working for me.
Let's bring this back to the prompt. June, do you want to share something specifically about democracy?
I don't know anymore.
You guys are gonna rage quit?
Do you know?
I'm just disappointed in you, honestly.
Why?
Can you everybody just shut up so I can talk? Democracy's at threat. It's plain and simple. There is going to be a point, there's going to be a breaking point where Democrats and Republicans cannot work together to facilitate any legislation whatsoever. There's going to be a point where the Government Accountability Office is not able to transition the democracy anymore. There's no peaceful transfer of power like there is in other democracies, such as in India, in Japan, in UK. All of those different principles of democracy are going to go out the window. And on previous Jubilee videos, they've talked about anti-Trump Republicans saying democracy is at threat. Pro-Trump Republicans have said we don't even live in a democracy. So choose your fucking statements wisely, choose who you vote for wisely, choose which party you support for wisely, because one wants to support democracy, keep going, and one doesn't.
All right, let's bring on the disagreeers, please. Before we speak here, disagreeers, is everyone here supportive of democracy? Raise your hand if you are.
Case in point.
Okay. I'd love to hear more.
So I think I think a lot of people will wake up, and I think in that sort of sense, I think people will definitely choose. I think America's always had the right to choose. We choose who we vote for. And I think, again, Roe v. Wade being overturned, again, people are going to scream at me, but I think it's a good thing because it's at the state level. People can more choose. It's more personal now. You can choose. I'm against it, but whatever, that's fine. I can go vote in my local state and I can vote against it. America being a democracy, there's arguments between it. But I think people, most important is that people do their own research, they use their critical thinking skills. I think Trump's going to encourage that. So.
But you think democracy is at risk
What were your critical thinking skills when you put on this outfit today?
specifically with this election?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. Yeah, that's right. You disagree. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we're not a democracy, or that's not what the founding fathers intended. We're supposed to be a constitutional republic, and democracies they breed mob rule, and I think that's unfortunately some of what we have now. So the reason I don't think it's a threat to democracy is because I'm very hesitant to use that phrasing. I think that saying that is fear-mongering unless it's absolutely true. It's something you hear from Democrats almost every single election, and so I'm hesitant to use it. But I do think that our country is in a dangerous place. But in terms of a threat to democracy, no.
What's the difference between democracy and constitutional republic in your eyes?
In my eyes, a constitutional republic is electing the best person for the job and then having that person make decisions on behalf of the people. And right, and democracy is mob rule. It's everybody, just mob rule.
But is it semantics to get into whether or not we're a democracy or a constitutional republic, or to talk about the values of democracy? Because in America, we support the values of democracy. Peter Navarro, who's a Trump appointee, is quoted saying that America is the arsenal of democracy.
I think that word is used wrong all the time.
So then,
I don't know that specific case.
So then how do we define America?
In your words, like, can you articulate what the values of democracy are? Because maybe it is semantics.
Democracy goes against authoritarianism. That is my equivalency here, right? There's democracy and there's authoritarianism.
So
we have
I mean, we're not even that. If that's the case, we're not even a democracy, honestly. I mean, we don't even get to pick our Supreme Court justice. They're picked by the president. And as of this moment, even though there is a case going to try to fight against that, they don't have any term limits. So yeah, we don't really exactly live in a democratic, we don't exactly live in a democracy, but these people try to do the whole constitutional republic thing. Basically, it is kind of a dog whistle for them to be like, no, I don't. It's just like kind of like them leaning into like the whole like, no, I just want a dictator at this point.
We have authoritarian governments that are our opponents. We also have some that are our allies, but for the most part, we go against authoritarianism. We don't like Putin. We don't like Xi. We don't like Kim, right? These are all three autocrats that operate their government at the very top with an autocrat in power. Democracies, however, function with heads of government, heads of state, making sure that people have the ability to choose how they live, whether or not they have civil liberties, whether or not they have civil freedoms and civil rights to operate under. Our legislature operates to give us that voice in our democracy. Whether or not it's a republic or whether or not it's a democracy, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we have the option of voicing how we want to live. If you live in Saudi Arabia or in Iran, you don't necessarily have those options.
Well, when I think of democracy versus constitutional republic, the main difference I see is state power versus federal power. In democracies, everybody has to follow the same thing. If it's a federal law, like more overarching power, more top-down type of power. And constitutional republic, I guess in my eyes, is more bottom-up. Is that every state, they have the power to do their things. They have the power to tell the federal government, no, you cannot intrude on us. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah, but that's not even true because there are, laws across all the states no matter what. So yeah, that's not even true. So no, we don't live in either. We really don't even live in either one. It's just like, but again, this has nothing to do. Again, it's just him trying to get away from the fact that like he doesn't care about democracy as much because he knows once Trump gets in there, he's going to play into Project 2025 or at least some aspects of it that will make it more authoritarian.
To do in our state, and I think that's a lot better than one entity at the top telling everybody what they must do.
But you can choose for how your state goes in, what direction your state goes in, right? Right. And regardless if we were a confederacy or if we were an actual federal government as we are right now, you have to support your option as a citizen to choose how your government directs itself. Right. So that's democracy in my opinion.
I explain mine, you explain yours. I think we both understand each other.
All right, everyone, let's move on to the next prompt. I feel confident my party will win this election. Will the agreeers please step forward?
I think there's been a...
Then why? Like, why are you fighting so hard? Like, I don't understand. Like, they said that, oh, Trump's going to see a big boost. So not a big enough boost to win? I don't know. They're probably going to come in with, like, stupid jokes and remarks, whatever.
I think people like Elon Musk endorsing, people like, I can't think of his name right now, but another very prominent billionaire, wealthy guy, endorsing people are waking up. I mean, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Aiden Ross, all those guys put out tweets, and those are young Gen Z. You guys want to be young Gen Z people?
First of all, Logan Paul and Jake Paul are not Gen Z. I think Logan Paul, at least, is not. But you're literally going with people who are deemed extremely controversial. Aiden Ross is not well-liked. Jake Paul and Logan Paul are literally like laughing stocks of the internet. And Elon Musk turned a bunch of people against him by buying a platform and making it infinitely worse and only a breeding ground for Nazis and bots. No, you are literally picking the worst examples for people endorsing him. He's like, you don't understand. Trump is going to win based off the crypto bro Nazi vote.
People see that, people feel inspired. I mean, he took a bullet for his values. Call it what you want. He took a bullet for his values. And I don't know many other people that would do that or have the goal to stand up and say, fight, fight, fight. Those are going to be the last words he ever said. So I think we will win this election by a landslide. And again, you look at what happened with Reagan. When Reagan was failed assassination attempt on him as well, he won the election by a landslide. So I think I would have a very similar thing, and I think he will take this election because people aren't stupid, and there is hope for our future. I think too many people want to say this entire generation is stupid. It's over. I don't think so. I think people will still have critical thinking. I think we have a lot of truth being put out. I think
If you are looking to Aiden Ross to look at this generation has critical thinking, you're just an idiot. You're just a stupid little boy.
that a lot of that's because of Trump. I think Trump has brought a lot of truth back.
Yeah, the guy who, Aiden Ross, the man who has critical thinking skills, when he tried to pay his viewers money to do incredibly stupid shit, like throw pee on their siblings.
I mean, like, well, I just disagree
That's
with
a
that.
critical
I think
thing.
at some point
The
there's
critical
something
thinking
we're gonna-
guy, the guy who showed porn to his underage audience.
Start waking up a lot more than they already have right now, right? There's going to be a point where all of our ballots start getting in our mail in California. We're going to have to push our asses down to be able to get Congress flipped. We have a bunch of different, congressional districts out here that we need to start flipping in order to mobilize for our party. The thought of Trump really scares a lot of people. It scared me when I was just in school, and I was like, I got to start waking up to this. I was like 13 when I started paying attention to politics, and I was sitting in my history class watching C-SPAN all the time, and I'm looking at how just Republicans at that time, before Trump, how Republicans started acting in congressional hearings, and that didn't sit right with me. That's my political socialization, just the same way that you two both had different ones. I think that political socialization is going to turn on for a lot of people very soon.
You know, my reasons are different than those. I got involved in politics more years ago than I care to admit. Being a grassroots volunteer, and fast forward to 2020, I was an advisor to a national presidential campaign, and all in there in between, all the things I ever saw pointed to that infrastructure matters. And the Democratic Party has over like 1,000 field offices already, and the RNC, they gutted their whole staff, and they're just structurally they're just way behind. And also there's polling that seems to indicate that more than 50% of Americans see Trump as a threat to democracy, and the vast majority of Americans think democracy is good. So just based on like the kind of bellwethery things that I look for, I think that the odds are on the Democrat side, and I think that what happened in the debate a few weeks ago, what happened with the assassination attempt a couple days ago, those things come and go. But the numbers are what they are, and I just think Democrats have an advantage.
Well, I want to say too, what hasn't come and gone is the support.
Well, yeah, that's a thing that's common with
when I
Democrats,
see
so.
massive boat parades that I've attended many of, and these are like thousands. There'll be the one guy in his kayak with a Biden sign shirt.
Yeah, but
there's massive boat parades.
But we're really good at getting independents to vote.
Or even, I mean, there's no. I mean, when there were independent candidates, their rallies were small too. You compare a Trump rally to a Biden rally, there's no comparison.
But
you
those
compare
aren't
Trump's followers in a couple of days on TikTok to Biden's followers on TikTok. There's no comparison.
None of those are bellwethers, though.
Okay, well, call it what you will.
Yeah,
It's relevant. I don't
sorry,
see Biden supporters. I can't go on the street and find a Biden supporter. It's very hard. It's very hard.
It's also, but it's not characteristic of Democrats to be out loud about our politics the way it is for Republicans. And also,
I mean, who cares about like TikTok followings? Also, yeah, Biden isn't exactly extremely popular. Again, I think this is something that they literally should have just kind of waited on. Like now this is incredibly outdated. Now we know that there are people who are going to definitely ride for Harris, at least in this term, because really there's no other option now. But they definitely support her way more than they did Biden. She's surging in popularity. This is kind of a moot point. I think we might just skip over this. I think there's really no other point to cover this. We'll probably just, kind of just play it out for now. There's only really 10 or so minutes left.
I totally am with you. Like Trump has a very, very, very passionate, faithful base. I think the electorate that was going to vote for Trump always will. But that's not 50% plus one.
Let's hear from the people who haven't heard from Emily.
I'm going to go. No offense, all of our opinions are valid, but you know me, I live in the most liberal state in the most liberal part of the state. So let's be
live here too.
Yeah, but let's be real. I think my opinion is a little bit more valid. I'm not hanging out with a bunch of MAGA people in Florida every day. You know what I mean? I will say from personal experience. Let's start 4 years ago. I was like, COVID happened. I disagree with everything. I started listening to people I liked, and I was like, I like them more. I'm gonna go with this. I was like, I like Donald Trump. I actually have no reason not to like him when I actually did my research. And then I started wearing MAGA hats in the Arts District to Silver Lake of Los Angeles. The death threats to my home, exposing my address, the hate online, the trying to find me, my address, what I had to go through, what my family had to go through, was horrific for genuinely just having a different opinion and being different, which I am where I am. And I went from being shoved next to a cliff on a hike, being called racist, denying I couldn't get service when I went, people spit on me. I mean, it was insane because I had a MAGA hat on. I mean, people would just walk up to me and be like, I hope you can kill yourself. The reason why I'm so hopeful is I'm in it. I see it. I feel it. When I blew up online, every actor, celebrity.
Who are you? Who is this woman? I think she's Emily Saves America. 330K. She really blew up online, guys. Let's see. She has 330K, 11K, 8K, 9K, 29K, 5K, 18K. When did you blow up? When exactly did you blow up, perchance? Okay, it's 37K. Okay, when exactly did you blow up? Like 1K, just okay, like 22K. She's just delusional. Okay, she's just delusional.
Everyone you guys probably follow and love and look up to. Every single one was in my DMs. They're like, oh, we love Trump. We just can't lose our careers and businesses. They were like, we can't even follow you online.
Okay, this girl is just a
Because they were like,
liar.
we would lose everything. But they were like, just so you know,
Yeah,
we're
all the
positive.
biggest celebrities know who she is. This woman with under 1 million subscribers. And look, obviously, where I'm standing, that's a lot. But like in the grand scheme of things, where she's standing isn't a lot either. Like this is just she is just completely lying or just out of her mind. Like, what is she even talking
that
about?
anybody could ever say. That was just you flexing on everybody else. Okay. But why I have faith, and then I mean, it's just kind of embarrassing for you. Like, why do you feel like you need to do that?
But
I don't know,
you
it's just-
genuinely have zero education.
Yeah, you constantly have to be like, oh, I have so many followers, I blew up, and like everybody knows who I am. No, they don't. You're just lying to yourself.
Not anything you've talked about. And you laughed at Donald Trump's assassination, but then you're like,
There are things
I have a moral high ground.
I'm not going to speak up if I don't have a place to say anything. All four of
But
you.
you shouldn't. You have
place
very
your
little to contribute in
opinion
general.
the conversation. No, you place your
Oh my
opinion in the
God.
conversation. You don't have facts, and it's embarrassing.
Can you take it back to the prompt?
I have faith in the Democratic Party, and I have faith in Joe Biden because we are the working class. Politics actually affects us, and we don't have time to go out to rallies and participate and do this kind of stuff because we're actually
I've
working.
worked since I was 17. I don't work.
Okay,
Let her finish,
I
let her
worked
finish.
as well. I had jobs too.
I don't get it.
All right, let's bring in the disagreeers.
I'm for it.
Alec, let's start with you. You don't think that your party's going to win this election?
Well, I think that there's a huge case to be made that they could steal this election again. Also, if they shot Donald Trump in the ear, somebody's probably going to try to attack him again. So I think it's very possible that if they try to assassinate his character, they try to throw him in jail, they try to literally assassinate him. So I think there's a big possibility that the deep state, the people, these unelected bureaucrats, the CIA, FBI, people that you guys even admit exist, that you don't admit that there are unelected bureaucrats that help Joe Biden make decisions.
They aren't supposed to.
No,
They
the
stayed
way
there
you
when-
framed that is
they
not.
stayed there when Trump was in office.
I'm just saying, there's
That's
people
how
in
civil
cabinet
service
that were
works.
not elected.
Let's let him finish. Go ahead.
They never let me finish.
Go ahead.
Let me finish.
Lie.
Well, you ascribed something to me that I didn't say. That's fine.
My point is, there is a deep state, and I think that they stole the first election in 2020. I think it's very likely that they're going to steal the election again in 2024. And if they can't steal it, they will go to any means necessary to take Trump out. They've tried everything. We were 1 inch away from Donald Trump dying. I don't think they're going to miss next time. I hope that doesn't happen, but I think it's a high possibility that he could be attacked again because he's the biggest
Okay,
threat
so he thinks his party's not going to win because he's a nut job.
to the deep state.
Do you think you can win fairly?
No, yeah, he's going to win fairly. Yeah, he's going to get more votes.
Then why didn't you come up here first?
I just don't think
He literally could not even win the popular vote in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, who was a extremely unpopular figure. Like, extremely unpopular, and he couldn't even win the popular vote then. So what? I don't hear you saying that the 2016 election was stolen because he won. You can't make that argument when he didn't even win the popular vote.
the results are going to come in my favor. Just like he won fairly in 2020, I think they're going to rig it. Because there's people in power that are above Donald Trump. Like the president, you have to look at almost like the quarterback. Like, he is making the decisions. He is the face of the franchise.
This guy is just a nut job. I do not believe, like, dude, literally just quit your job and just work minimum wage. You'll probably find more success there. Because, like, even this point, like, it's not one that, like, a lot of Republicans even spout that much anymore. You'll hear them every now and again, but they know it's a new point at this point. They know there's, like, nothing backing them. Like, they could make the point when it was happening because people were still finding it out, even though it was very obvious that wasn't happening. But, like, this is an old point again. Like, you're just going back to be like, look at what happened to us last time. Look at how unfair that was. This would be like if an NBA team believed that they got screwed over by a coach, well, not a referee, during a previous game, and then a year later, when they're facing the same team, they're still bitching about it.
But there is an owner, there's a head coach above these presidents that we don't even know about that give these people orders. And those people are the ones that are actually controlling the world.
It's the Illuminati. It's the
I
lizard
think
people.
Donald Trump will win, but I'm not confident, and I think that was the prompt, that I'm confident that he's going to win. I think overconfidence is a dangerous thing. I think it makes people very comfortable, and I thought he would win in 2020. I was wrong. I'm a little bit different than Alex. I am certain that there was voter fraud, but I'm not 100% certain that it caused Donald Trump to win the election. That's just me personally. It might have not. I'm not sure. But I do know that overconfidence, does make.
Like, yeah, that's kind of how more you should be playing it. Like, with Alex, that weirdo, he's just so weird. Like, that's gonna turn people off. Like, that's the very far right thinking, the weird, like the fucking incel kind of behaving. That it's just gonna turn people off. Like, the moderates are just gonna look at that and be like, that's fucking weird. Like, yeah, I don't want to vote for a party that just is very obviously delusional when it comes to, the nature of things.
A lot of people don't realize that there's a difference between a supporter and a voter. And there are a lot of people, probably many people that go to those vote rallies, that go to Donald Trump's events, that don't end up voting. And Democrats are good at getting people out to the polls. They're good at getting people out to the ballot boxes, and that's what's going to determine the election.
Do you feel like you will personally accept the results of this election as, the will of the people?
We'll have to see what the results are at the time. I can't give anything right now. I'll look at it when we see it.
Pretty good.
You like that? That was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think accepting is not really a choice. It's going to happen. Whether it happens, what happens, happens. But I think it would be a very dark time for America, and not in the way that people claim, like, oh, they're going to come after the gays, they're going to come after our rights, they're going to come after. That's not true. It's not going to happen if Trump wins. And even if you guys are on the Democratic side, at least just take action. Like, I'm so tired of people sitting and saying things online but not actually doing anything about it. And everyone has to vote. That's why people are writing on the tips now. They're writing no tax on tips. Vote for Donald Trump because he needs to win.
I just wanted to say for the record, because I was being a little silly before, I will accept the results of the election. I think, like Bo said, it's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and you got to accept what happens in life. So.
Yes, 100%. What happens, happens. We've lived through Republican presidencies, we've lived through Democratic presidencies, and we've seen in midterms things have gone our way and they haven't, right? I was sitting over here in 2022 fully expecting that you guys were taking control of both the House and the Senate, right? Unfortunately for you guys, you didn't. But at some point, we were really good at getting people to vote. We reminded people why they didn't like Republicans. And it worked, even after so much gerrymandering happened in state after state after state, even with independent commissions, I'll have you. So that said, there always has to be anybody, Republican or Democrat, choosing to accept the election. And just for the record, it has caused a lot of pain that January 6th happened. It has caused a lot of pain that there is this wishy-washy back and forth on whether or not it happened.
Can we stick to the question?
That is the question. I'm sorry, it is. You can't keep coming around with saying what the prompt is and what it isn't, because we're talking about saving democracy. We're talking about making sure that it doesn't crumble, that people don't have the opportunity to vote. And he's wiping his tears away because he doesn't want people to vote.
There's countries in South America that can count the votes in 24 hours. I will not accept the results of this election if it takes more than 72 hours to give us those results.
Well, apples to oranges. I got to say,
We have. So he's like, there are countries in South America who can get it done in 24 hours, but we had to take 74 hours. We are a way bigger country.
Trump wins?
Even if Trump wins, how about that?
I'm kind of.
Yeah, there you go. There it is, baby.
This is such a shame. I feel responsible for this too, that we really didn't find much of a middle ground. This feels like it's kind of a waste.
Okay, come on, dude. You were trying to fight for, don't try to find, this show's called a middle ground. You don't have to be nice to these people who are literally insanely gross to your face.
And I apologize if I was too hard on you guys. I'm sorry.
No, you weren't hard. You were insulting.
Yeah, insulting, playing
a little
character.
condescending. I'm not playing.
Jesus Christ, this is kind of what I hate. I hate always when people are just like, why can't we get back to nice politics? It's because some of these people, this guy in particular, are fucking disgusting. You shouldn't play nice with them. They're disgusting monsters and they're weird, and you should call them that to their face. Stop being polite to these fucking idiot monsters. This is what I hate so much about middle ground in general.
I am that.
At least this time they didn't exactly, hug and dap each other up like sometimes they do. I'm pretty sure that's what they did with the gay liberals, gay conservative episode. They ended up hugging afterwards. It's just no, don't be nice to these people who are completely gross to you. I don't even know what this was. Just that one guy, Alex, is just completely disgusting. Oh, geez, this was a tough watch. This was probably one of the toughest watch I had ever watching a Jubilee video. Just what was even going on. But yeah, that's all we really had to say on that front.